Bucknutters, welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, September 16th, 2016. I am Dave Biddle, very happy to be joined by Bucknuts contributor Jonah Booker. Jonah is also a former defensive back at Ohio University. Well, Jay Buck, everybody's singing Kumbaya this week. It's been pretty boring. Oklahoma praising Ohio State heaping praise on Oklahoma. Just shiny, happy people holding hands. And then everything changed yesterday when it was released that Oklahoma's backup quarterback, Austin Kendall, and your post on the front row was the first time I even saw anything about this, said on a TV show that Ohio State's defense is, quote, basic, and that the Sooners and Baker Mayfield are going to, quote, light them up. I love this. This is exactly what I think Ohio State needed. I don't know if they needed it, but I love it. I'm glad this happened. It gives Ohio State maybe a little extra motivation. Your reaction when you saw this, Jay Book?
I love it as well, Dave. I mean, it put some excitement heading into the big game this weekend. As you mentioned, it was pretty boring throughout the week. Both teams were high praising each other, keeping it politically correct, and the backup quarterback, out of all people, steps up and knocks over the dishes, and all hell breaks loose. It's even brought up on Urban Meyer's call-in show. He even mentioned that, hey, we do use bulletin board material here at Ohio State, and if the guy actually said it, which he did, the coaches are going to go ahead and use that. So I love it. It gets me fired up. The Oklahoma faithful on their 24/7 board, they weren't too pleased with it. They don't want to poke the bear. We saw a lot of the Ohio State guys taking to Twitter, and so it's very aware of it. And Raekwon McMillan's mother on Twitter sends him a message telling him to go and light up the Oklahoma quarterback for the comments. Is running all over ESPN. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I think stuff like this matters. I don't think it has a huge impact on games, but I think stuff like this matters a little bit as far as just bulletin board material. People say, bulletin board material. You either buy into it or you don't. I buy into it, but I'm not, I don't think it could maybe, have like 2 touchdown effect on the game or anything like that. But just want to get your perspective on that. I mean, bulletin board material like this, the kid probably wishes he had, he could take these words back, but obviously Ohio State's going to use this. We know Urban Meyer is not shy about using bulletin board material. But just your take, how much do you think, quote-unquote, bulletin board material really matters in football?
I think it matters a lot. It can be a rallying cry for a team. Obviously, the game's going to be won with the Jimmies and the Joes when it comes to the athletes and the X's and the O's, but what this does, it dials you in as far as the focus. It raises the blood pressure. It gets guys ramped up to another level. There's a reason Urban Meyer said they use bulletin board material. He's come out in the past and said when Florida played Oklahoma in the national championship, he made up bulletin board materials to get the guys riled up. So that tells you right there how much Urban Meyer plays into this. He's a guy that really dials up the emotions when needed. And if you're Bob Stoops, you have to be pulling that kid to the side and say, what the heck are you doing? I mean, my question is why in the world do you have a backup quarterback going on a TV show answering questions? How come Baker Mayfield or other guys like that aren't on the TV show? And when you have a young team like this going on a road for the first time, the biggest thing that you want those guys to do is, hey, it's us against this entire stadium. It's us against the world type of mentality. And when you have something as far as bulletin board material to give them a rallying cry to say, hey, we're doing this because they think that we're suspect. They think our defense is basic. They believe they're going to torch us. So let's go out there and prove everybody wrong. It's not going to be so much winning the game because of bulletin board material, but it definitely ramps up the focus.
Yeah, you mentioned Urban Meyer's not shy about mentioning in the 2008 national championship game against Oklahoma, he used bulletin board material. He just kind of overloaded his players with, this is what people are saying, it's the disrespect factor. And I think you're being kind to Ohio State fans by not reminding them that Urban did this as well in the 2006 national championship game. He's talked a lot about that as well, about how no one was giving Florida a chance. Everybody was saying Ohio State was going to just beat Florida by 2 touchdowns, and Urban said he used that like you wouldn't believe. Newspaper clippings, printouts from websites, just clips from what people were saying on TV. He made his players watch all of that and read all of that. So he was all about that. We know he has a psychology degree, and some people kind of downplay that, but I think that's a big piece of who he is he is the master motivator. So I think this is, talk about tugging at Superman's cape. But I'm glad it happened. God bless Austin Kendall for making this week more interesting and maybe getting Ohio State even more fired up for this game. Well, Joey Book, a few more topics here. The emergence of Robert Landers, redshirt freshman defensive tackle. His film looked great in high school, playing against top competition. Wayne High School, which has become a little bit of a pipeline for Ohio State. He looked great in the state playoffs that year. Led his team to the state finals where they lost. But, I was a little surprised he redshirted last year. And then I was surprised we weren't hearing a lot about him. But now he's coming on, 2 tackles for loss last week, and I think he's going to continue to play a big role. Your thoughts on BB Landers stepping up?
The guy is tremendous. He really showed out against Tulsa. We had it in our boarding house earlier in the week that, people close to the staff, they're very high on his motor. His first step off the ball, the guy is so fluid. As Greg Schiano said, he's a twitched up guy. So once he gets underneath the pads there with those bigger linemen, he's very hard to stop. I'm really excited to see what Landers is going to do. He has the opportunity to really set himself apart from the rest of that group, because you have Michael Hill there, and then you have a whole mixed bag of goods with the remaining defensive tackles. We need to see somebody emerge to be a difference maker, and I think Landers has that potential there. He's not necessarily going to wow you with his height and his size, but the guy he's ox strong. He reminds me of a rhino down there in the middle. Once he gets going, he's hard to stop. We saw what he can do in that state championship game coming out of high school. He was an underrated guy, but the potential and the ceiling is tremendously high.
Staying on the defensive side of the ball, Dante Booker is listed as questionable by Urban Meyer. I shouldn't say listed. It's not like there's like an official injury report like the NFL. It's just Urban just telling the media what he wants to tell the media. So they're saying he's questionable, but we're hearing, as we've been saying in the boarding house, that, it's slim to none that Dante Booker is going to play in this game. Looks like Jerome Baker will get his second start of his career, and Urban said Jerome Baker did play well in his first start against Tulsa last week. My question for you, sir, by the end of the year, let's assume both these young men are healthy, 100% healthy. Who is the starting will linebacker? Is it going to be Dante Booker or Jerome Baker?
I think that's so tough, Dave. When you throw the caveat out there, considering both are healthy, I'm going to go with Jerome Baker for the simple fact that once he gets that position, once he settles down in there, he starts making plays that it's going to be very hard to pull him off the field. That's a big if both guys are healthy, for the simple fact that we're going on 2 years now that Booker's battled injuries. I think Booker could be a potential, game changer, but the problem is you can't get him on the field. So there's an injury right now, will it linger on throughout the season? That's going to be a major question mark. But all things equal, if both guys are healthy, I think it's going to be Jerome Baker, because I think he's going to really break out as he continues to get more live game reps. He's really going to show that freak athleticism that he has. So I'm going to roll with Baker.
I agree with you. I think Jerome Baker is not going to give up this job. Call it Wally Pipp, call it what you want, but I think Jerome Baker is going to remain as a starter. All right, brass tacks. Final thing here on the show. Ohio State, 1.5-point favorites. Memorial Stadium, Norman, Oklahoma, tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, will be televised by Fox. It's going to be a great crowd. Buckeye fans are going to be very well represented as usual. For those that didn't see our staff predictions yesterday, what is your prediction for this game? Final score, who's going to win?
I got Ohio State winning this 34-24. The Buckeyes go in there drilling at the mouth. Urban Meyer's going to have those guys revved up to another level. This is why you come to Ohio State to play on the big stage when the lights are the brightest. Urban Meyer's he's going into Norman, Oklahoma, 18-0, never lost a road game in the regular season as Ohio State coach. Now, what is this team going to do once Oklahoma hits them in the mouth? I think they're going to respond, and I like the Buckeyes 34-24. I said at the beginning of the season I thought Oklahoma was going to win this one as we progress forward. I changed my prediction, and Ohio State wins this game. All bets are off on what the ceiling is for this team because I think they win this one. It's a very good chance they're going to run the table.
I have a similar score, a little closer though. I have Ohio State winning 31-27. I really feel like if the Buckeyes, limit Oklahoma to under 28 points, they're going to win this game. So I just feel like Ohio State's going to find a way to score 28 or more. So if they can just find a way, because Oklahoma's going to get their share of yards. This is an explosive offense, good offensive coordinator, great quarterback, great running back. They're going to get their yards. Ohio State needs to keep them 27 points or under. The Buckeyes will win this game, so I have 31-27 Ohio State. Thank you to the knowledge, as always, from Jonah Booker. Really appreciate it. J-Book, you always come strong. And thanks to all the listeners out there. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the game. It's going to be a fun one. And let's hear a little Buckeye swag. Best damn band in the land.